Real 2K rosters, breaking down the NBA games from October 29th, 2023. The Sacramento Kings beat the LA Lakers 132 to 127 in overtime. De'Aaron Fox, 37 points and 8 assists. However, he sprained his ankle late in the fourth quarter and had to leave the game in overtime. Um, he's averaging 32 points and 6 assists, showing an improved three ball this year, 9 of 24 on threes, 38%. For his career and last year, he's only shot 32%. He does a lot of his shooting off the dribble, too. So if he's able to maintain these percentages, that's going to go a long way towards maintaining his overall rating, making sure that he continues to make the All NBA team. I've got him at an 81 three ball because he was doing a lot. Even though he shot only 32% last year, he did a lot of that off the dribble. If he's shooting 38% doing all that off the dribble, he's probably got like an 86 to 87 rating, especially if he's doing it in volume, hitting three threes per game so far. But now that he sprained his ankle, there's really an open question of whether or not the Kings can hold on without Fox. They were one of the healthiest teams ever last season, which is a big reason why the Kings made the third seed. The starters on the team missed only a combined total of 21 games, which is pretty much unheard of in the load management era. Obviously, they are a younger team, but Fox has had injury issues in the past. He's obviously he's not the most athletic player, but he's someone who relies on his speed to get by guys. So they are probably, if he has to miss like a month with like a grade 2 sprain or something like that, that would be less than ideal because they don't really have too much behind him. They've got Davion Mitchell, who's nowhere near the player that Fox is offensively, and Malik Monk, who's a great scorer but not really a point guard. Monk, for what it's worth, had 22 points in 24 minutes in this one. He scored 11 points in the overtime, taking over essentially when Fox had to leave the game. So a big reason why they won this game. Domantas Sabonis was not a factor in the overtime as he fouled out during the fourth quarter, had 12 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists, but did have 6 fouls in 34 minutes. He does get in a lot of foul trouble. I believe I saw a tweet by Tim McCrans. I forget exactly what his Twitter handle is, but he's one of the bigger Laker follows. I'll post that in the comment section. He's definitely worth a follow. But he posted something that said Sabonis had the highest ratio of foul trouble games in the NBA last year. So hey AD, you should definitely try to take over. And that's essentially what AD did in this one. He scored 30 points, had 16 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 11 of 22 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, 7 of 8 from the line. Of course, getting to the line a little more by getting Sabonis into foul trouble. 1 for 2 on threes. He is 3 for 6 on the season, so probably going to be boosting his 3-point rating in short order. And LeBron James was also solid in this one. A lot of this game, the most notable thing about this game is LeBron James made his debut exactly 20 years ago against the Sacramento Kings, and he was just as dominant now as he was then, putting together a 27-point, 15 rebound, 8 assist performance on 11 of 19 shooting. So between the two guys on the Lakers, these are their 2 stars that are going to carry them. The rest, it's kind of a mixed bag of what you're going to get each night. Taurean Prince was big again. He had 20 points, 5 of 13 on threes, bouncing back from the goose egg that he had in the last game, but he did have 4 of 6 from 3 in the opener. As a role player, he's going to be up and down throughout the year. There'll be games where he's a big factor, and then games where he's a total non-factor. D'Angelo Russell, he was solid in this one, 17 points, 9 assists. And then Austin Reeves, he's struggling pretty bad so far. 5 points, 1 for 12 shooting in this game. This dropped his season field goal percentage from 44% to 30% through 3 games. And it's worth noting that he shot 53% last season. A big part of his value is his efficiency on the low number of shots that he takes. So if he's not able to maintain that, he obviously doesn't deserve an 84 overall rating. He probably drops down to like the 79 range, and that would be a pretty big damper on the contract that they just signed him to. But I do have faith that he'll bounce back. He didn't get like a big offseason because he was playing internationally and stuff. So It's just something to monitor moving forward. And obviously, 3 games is still way too small of a sample to make concrete assessments on. Let's head on over to the Golden State Warriors, who beat the Houston Rockets 106 to 95. Draymond Green made his debut. He started. Chris Paul came off the bench for the first time in his career, having previously played 1,216 games, all in the starting lineup. And as a result of Draymond starting, I ended up changing the positions for Curry and Clay again. I'd previously changed Curry to shooting guard as he'd been playing next to Chris Paul during the entire preseason, and as well as putting Clay Thompson as a small forward, which I think he's still going to see a fair amount of his time at small forward. However, I didn't make Wiggins a power forward because I did have a feeling that once Green came back that he would re-enter the starting lineup. I think that he's probably going to be the starter on most nights, so it makes sense to have Curry and Clay in their natural positions. And it is just really kind of interesting that the best 2 players on the Golden State Warriors essentially play the same position. They are going to play together still a fair amount. And it's worth noting that Chris Paul, he had 8 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists in this one. He was a team leading plus 22 in 28 minutes. Has a great effect on the backups on this team. Like Gary Payton II, for example, he's gonna love playing with Chris Paul. 15 points on 6 of 8 shooting. Definitely someone who's gonna benefit. Jonathan Kuminga is another player who's probably gonna benefit. Guys like Dario Saric, Moses Moody. It really gives the Warriors 2 starting lineups essentially, having Chris Paul being the backup to Steph Curry on this team. For what it's worth, Draymond wasn't terribly effective in this one. 4 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 turnovers, 2 for 4 from the field, +2 in 21 minutes. But again, it's only preseason for him as he missed. He's getting himself into game shape now. Only played the 21 minutes. He'll probably be on a bit of a limits minute as he ramps up his conditioning and whatnot. And worth noting that Clay had a solid one. And Clay and Curry were both good in their natural position roles. Curry 24, 7 and 6, 6 of 14 from three, and then Clay 19 points, 5 of 10 from three. He might have actually been able to get himself going as Curry playing with Chris Paul was doing a lot of the off-ball scoring, which kind of turns Clay Thompson into just like a spot-up shooter rather than the guy that's coming off the screens. So with Curry in the natural point guard role, Clay was probably able to come off a few more screens than he was in the first couple games. Going over to the Houston Rockets, Fred VanVleet had his worst game of the season, 8 points, 4 assists, but only 2 of 13 shooting. Jalen Green, 21 points on 8 of 20 shooting, kind of continuing along he gets up 20 shots a game, and whether or not they go in or not is going to determine how efficient he was. Alperen Sengun, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. I would consider him a more valuable player than Jalen Green. I'll probably adjust those ratings accordingly. And then Jabari Smith Jr. had his best game of the season after struggling in the first 2. He had 14 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 6 of 12 from the field. Worth noting that Jock Landale missed this game as he's in the concussion protocols at the moment. Heading over to the Atlanta Hawks, who beat the Milwaukee Bucks 127 to 110. 8 Atlanta Hawks were in double figures in this game, and they were led by Trae Young. 20 points, 11 assists, 5 of 14 shooting, 3 of 8 on 3, 7 of 9 from the line. So still struggling a little bit with his efficiency, but he really outplayed Dame Lillard in this game, which you would not really expect. Filling things out for the rest of the Hawks, Bogey had 17, DeJounte Murray had 15, Hunter 15, Jalen Johnson had 14, more on him in a second, Okongwu 14, and then Saddiq Bey 13. Jalen Johnson started over Saddiq Bey, most likely due to the Giannis matchup. He's listed at 6'9", 220. I think he's got more weight to him, a little more bulk than that, but he's definitely a better athlete, I think, than Saddiq Bey. And Saddiq Bey is really more of a small forward than a power forward physically, so they definitely wanted Jalen for the Giannis matchup, I think. And he responded with 14 points, 7 rebounds, 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 3 on threes in 26 minutes. And Bey, for what it's worth, he didn't have a bad game himself. 13 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. This should be a position battle throughout the season. The presence of Johnson on the roster is one of the bigger reasons why Saddiq Bey didn't get a contract extension, as They're not sure which one of these guys is going to be the starter over the long term. And then heading over to Milwaukee, Dame time was not tonight, as Dame had 6 points, 5 assists, 6 turnovers, and shot 2 of 12 from the field. He was minus 29 in 29 minutes, despite being matched up against Trae Young. Not a good game for him, and obviously he was someone who carried the Bucks in their first game of the year, and his poor performance in this one is ultimately why they lost this game. So they live by the Dame and they die by the Dame. Giannis was better in this one: 26 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 9 of 14 from the field, and 8 of 10 from the free throw line. I think he was 3 of 8 in the previous game, so that balances him out a little bit. Of course, you would love it if he shot 8 for 10 every night, but it is what it is. And Malik Beasley, I need to get his rating up a little bit. He had 18 points and hit 4 threes. The 1 3 that he got up in the opener seems to be just an aberration. Heading over to the Nuggets, there's no aberrations with this team, as they stomped the Thunder 128-95. Joker, 28 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, 12 of 16 from the field. Standard game for him. Jamal Murray, 19 points, 8 assists, 9 of 14 from the field. I think his assist rate is slightly up from the last year, but either way, he's trying to make his first All-Star team, and looks like he is going to do it. Michael Porter Jr., 20 points, 9 rebounds. Solid game for him. And then Peyton Watson and Christian Braun had their best games of the season. 17 points for Watson, 8 for 11 from the field in only 22 minutes. Probably the best game of his career. And then Christian Braun had a solid all-around game: 13 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists in 21 minutes. That probably is a career high in assists. I'm not sure, but it seems likely to me. And certainly 7 assists in only 21 minutes is very impressive, and it goes a long way towards him replacing Bruce Brown, as they definitely need some playmaking on that second unit. The OKC Thunder, they similar to Dame, live by the Dame, die by the Dame. Thunder definitely live by Shea and die by Shea. 7 points, 7 assists, 2 of 16 from the field. Clearly did not have it tonight, and OKC obviously is not going to win many games where Shea doesn't have it. Josh Giddey had 9 points on 4 of 13 shooting, so a 6 of 29 shooting performance for the Thunder backcourt. Chet Holmgren had 19 points to continue his solid rookie season. I definitely need to get his rating up a little bit. Trey Mann got dusted off, I believe, in garbage time, though. 12 points in 8 minutes, 5 of 7 from the field. So maybe he can build on that and get back into the rotation. But it's going to be tough with Cason Wallace continuing to not miss. 7 points, 3 for 3 from the field, 1 for 1 on threes. Through 3 games, his first 3 NBA games, he is 11 of 12 from the field, 92%, and then 5 for 5 on threes. So probably I can't recall a rookie guard who shot this well to start their career. Certainly not like a role player or anything. So it's worth keeping an eye on. I wonder if he can make it like the rest of the month with crazy shooting. The Philadelphia 76ers, speaking of crazy shooting, beat the Blazers 126-98. It's worth noting that the Sixers were on a back-to-back, and Embiid and Maxey each had 34 points last night. But, I mean, if you have the Blazers on a back-to-back, do you really have a back-to-back? Embiid had another big game: 35 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, 12 of 22 from the field, 2 for 4 on threes, 9 of 12 from the line, had 6 blocks, and was a plus 28 in 29 minutes. And then Maxey, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 of 14 from the field, but 4 of 8 on threes, 10 for 10 from the free throw line. I mentioned Jalen Duren as the most improved candidate for the Pistons, but Tyrese Maxey is right there with him, especially with each game that James Harden misses. I believe James Harden was on the bench in street clothes watching this game, so hey, at least he's back, right? Tobias Harris had 24 points as well in this one. Danny Green was a DNP. Daniel House might be ahead of him in the rotation again. Let's head on over to the Blazers, who, aside from Shaedon Sharpe, who had 20 points in this one, The rest of the team is struggling. A lot of that has to do, I think, with Scoot, who's struggling the most. I'm gonna have to drop his overall rating. He had 4 points, 2 of 7 from the field, over 4 on threes, 4 turnovers. He was playing a lot better in the preseason, but now that the games are counting, he's starting to show his age a little bit. And I do think he probably ends the season with this overall rating, but for right now, he's just struggling a lot. His catch and shoot game is good, but he's really struggling, I think, to shoot off the dribble. So probably need to drop all of his shooting ratings, and I'll have a better idea once I check out his some of his shooting stats through the first 3 games. So we'll probably see a lot of Malcolm Brogdon, especially in the first half of the year before the trade deadline. 18 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He's definitely the best player on this team. It's just a matter of, it's Scoot's team for the future, and Brogdon is a phenomenal teammate, so he's willing to come off the bench. Obviously, he came off the bench last year as the sixth man of the year, but he's someone the Blazers are definitely very happy to have in the organization as a tutor to Scoot. There aren't many better mentors for Scoot than Malcolm Brogdon in the NBA. And finishing off with the Clippers, Clippers and the Spurs. The Clippers stomped the San Antonio Spurs 123-83. 7 Clippers were in double figures. Kawhi 21, Westbrook 19, Paul George 19, Bones Highland 18, Norm Powell 13, and Kenyon Martin Jr. 10. Finishing off with the Spurs. The first 40-point loss of Wemby's career. Probably won't be the last one this year, but Wemby, he had, I guess, his worst game as a pro. 11 points, 4 of 10 from the field, over 2 on threes, only 3 for 6 from the free throw line. And it's worth noting that he had 5 turnovers in 26 minutes. The turnovers so far are the biggest blemish on Wemby's game. He's averaging 4.7 per game versus only 1.6 assists per game. Wemby entered this game 8th in steal percentage, 12th in block rate, and then 11th in usage rate. So he definitely is doing things at a high, at like an all-star caliber level. Once he cleans up the turnovers, everything about his profile just like screams all-star. I'm still picking him to make the all-star team. It's just a matter of figuring out what he can and can't do with the ball offensively, and obviously, the other guys on the team are as much as a factor. It's not like turnovers are created like in a vacuum. Sometimes it's players aren't able to get somebody a turnover in the right spot. Just because a player received a turnover doesn't mean it was necessarily their fault on any given possession. And it's worth noting that Jeremy Sohan is the starting point guard on this team, but I don't think that experiment is going particularly well. He had 0 points in this one, 4 turnovers and 3 fouls in 22 minutes. And I just think that having Trey Jones in the starting lineup, especially since he's someone who takes care of the ball and is able to get guys the ball in the right spots, is probably you would want him next to a 19-year-old Wembanyama to be like a steadying hand. I think more so than like trying to ramp up the defensive pressure by having like this crazy defensive lineup. I think they're doing great things on defense so far, but you need to play the game on both ends. But it is a development year. The Spurs aren't necessarily trying to make the playoffs. It's all about teaching and it's all about the young guys still getting their development. But yeah, that was it for Sunday, and check back tomorrow as I recap the Monday night games. And feel free to download my roster. A little later, I'm going to record a breakdown for the Brooklyn Nets. Cam Thomas, a little preview of what I've got his overall rating at. 2K's got him at a 76, and I added 13 badges to him. There's a lot crazy going on with the badges, but check out that video later. Otherwise, peace out. Have a great day.